What's going on, people? So, got a box of shoes in a couple days ago, right? So, if you were watching the live commentary or watch along or whatever you want to call it, the video that I did while I was watching Extreme Rules on Sunday, then you saw the live unboxing of these at the end of that. So, if you actually want to see the unboxing portion, that's where it is. It's not happening here, obviously, because they're out of the box. And if anybody saw that pay-per-view, you know that it was largely a waste of my time to watch it, but it was cool to sit back, talk to some people, had a good handful of people hanging out, talking about whatever we were talking about. So that helps me get through those things. It truly does. So if you were there, thank you. I definitely appreciate that a lot more than you might think that I do. So just want to remind you, it doesn't go unnoticed. Cool. Now, this right here, right? Taking a little quick gander at the side of the box and all that good stuff. And just from what you can probably tell by looking at it, this is one of those, collaboration shoes, right? I was going to say crossover, but collaboration is the word that I want. I guess crossover kind of works in some ways too. Either way, two things, they get together, they make some other thing that represents the both of them, right? That's what happened here. So let's go ahead and talk about these. If you don't know, this is the Adidas / Lego Ultraboost DNA in the black and yellow colorway. And you know what's crazy? Like this time, instead of using some of those like weird numbers behind their colors or whatever, they're actually just calling it like core black and yellow. What do you know? Keeping it simple. That's a good thing. Also, real quick before we get on into this, right? So outside there is some kind of noise going on, so I'm hoping that doesn't really come off too loud, like over me talking or whatever, but we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of people just click on these videos to like ask me how shoes fit or whatever, which is still a thing that I don't understand. So a lot of people probably aren't going to be listening anyway, but for the people like Logan J and some of my other buddies out there, to you guys that are actually watching and listening to this thing from start to finish, hopefully it's not like annoying to the point of being an actual bother. You know what I'm saying? So, that being that, let's go ahead and get on into this, right? We're going to kick things off with the bottom. Down there, what you're looking at is pretty much just your standard outsole that you see on these things. Nothing fancy about that, not at all, right? But if you come up here to the midsole and all that stuff, then, I guess it's not really fancy still, but it is yellow, and that's kind of cool, right? Because the colored in boost or whatever, it's not super common, so when it does happen, it's pretty cool, at least in my opinion. Yours may vary. Now, stepping back a little bit and just getting you guys a good picture of the overall shoe so you know what we're about to talk about and all that good stuff. You can see that there kind of isn't much to talk about, but we'll do the detailed breakdown thing anyway, because I got time to kill. Shout out to Alkaline Trio. So, nope, that's time to waste. I take that back. Moving in. What we're looking at down here around the toe box area, right? So what you are seeing, and hopefully the pictures show it, got a pretty thick cut of this suede here. I'm not necessarily going to say that the suede itself is thick. It's just like a very thick layer of it, Hopefully the pictures kind of show that. It's kind of reminiscent of the Ultraboost ZX8000 that I had, like the Aqua. Well, I still have it, but you know what I mean. So it's kind of like that. And then looking over here at the top of the toe box area, right? So you don't have the standard primate that you would expect from your average Ultraboost. You've got this sort of meshy type of thing that, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it because it doesn't feel like primate, and I prefer that. But you have that standard meshy type thing that you do have on like other shoes, similar to the NMDs and stuff like that, right? Now, between all that stuff, you do see this little plastic overlay, right? So it's kind of a weird choice, but it is 3M, so that kind of makes up for it, at least in my opinion, right? So there will have been pictures in there to show that, but it does give it a nice little look, when the flash hits it or whatever. So moving along here on the back end, well, not the back end, but on the middle area here, where the standard cage is, right? So the cage, it's going to be your standard plastic that you've come to see on a lot of like the 1 through 4 versions of the Ultraboost. The only difference being obviously like these have that big yellow Lego block thing going on, right? For the stripes. Now they are kind of nice. They're fairly detailed. You got the little Lego logo in there and all that good stuff. So that's cool, right? At least, again, to me. But otherwise, it's pretty much just like your standard material that you've seen before, right? Nothing too fancy about it. So we're gonna move a little bit further back. And so around here, around like the heel and the ankle type area, right? Starting down towards the bottom where you have like the heel cup. So that's gonna be similar to what you saw as far as making up the siding area with the stripes. So it's just gonna be like the standard Lego material, like the dots or whatever you call that, right? And then if you look in there, those are also labeled, right? So they got a little bit of attention to detail in there. Otherwise, it's just going to be your standard yellow plastic, right? And above that, you do have what you've come to see on most other Ultraboosts. That same sort of prime knit stitching and whatnot. You know, very, very thick. I do like that. So it's going to have some nice little padding in there. You'll see a little bit more once we get to like the actual inside of the shoe and all that stuff. So before we get to the inside of the shoe, let's finish out the outside, all right? So over here, right, you got the outside, you got these laces and all that good stuff. So they're pretty much just gonna be like your standard laces that you've seen a million times if you've seen any other Ultraboost before. Plain, yellow, nothing too fancy, but I do like the vibrant color of the yellow that they chose here. So that's pretty cool, right? And so then behind that, towards the bottom, I mean, it's just more of that mesh type stuff. And then at the top, you do have the tongue. Well, I don't even know if not everybody really calls this a tongue. It's just easier to refer to it as that because, you know. But anyway, so that, super thick, super thick. It feels like it's a lot thicker than any other Ultraboost that I can think of in recent times for whatever reason. So there is that. And then on that tongue, though, you have this little leather piece here. And at the top, you've got the Adidas logo. And down under that, you have the Lego logo, right? So that pretty much really sums up everything about the outside of the shoe. I don't think I forgot to mention anything. If I did, let me know down in the comments or whatever, for those of you that are, again, actually listening to this video. Now, that thing I said before about getting onto the inside, yeah, we're gonna do that now. So down there, what you're looking at on the insole there, yeah, it looks a little weird, right? That's because they went with this Lego raised bump style thing across the insole. And in case I forget to say it again later, it feels awkward, right? So I'm not sure how I feel about it. But right now, I'm honestly leaning towards not liking it, but I'm hoping that it grows on me. And I have low hopes of that happening. Just to be completely honest, that's how I'm feeling. But anyways, down in here, one thing you did notice is kind of like you saw on the tongue area, right? You've got the two logos there, and you might be wondering what those words are off to the side. It's just some stuff about Lego, whatever, right? So that's going to be about it. And as I was saying before, you do have some nice padding around the ankle area and all that good stuff. And one thing that is a little bit weird is on the very back, they kind of went with like an inverted Lego type of thing, like what you would, I guess, plug a Lego into or piece it into or whatever. So instead of having like the raised holes or whatever, it kind of just dips down in there. So that's something. I don't know what's up with that, but that's what they went with on there. So I believe that is about it as far as like the outside and the inside of this shoe. So before we go getting into the sizing and all that stuff, I'll hit you with some personal thoughts. And so personally, I'm liking these, right? I mean, like I said, that insole thing, it's a little bit weird, it is. But as a big fan of black and yellow, that was what pulled me in. And I do like Ultraboost. I think I may have mentioned that before. So that helped. And I thought the Lego thing was just kind of a cool little touch because I didn't get any of the previous Lego models because a lot of them I didn't like. And the one that I did like moved a little quicker than I cared for it to. So I never went back to try again. But now that I have this one, I feel like me waiting was kind of justified in the sense, you know, that I got something that I feel like I like more than all the other ones I've seen. So that's pretty cool, right? Cashed in on that Adidas early access. You know, they sent me the little notification thing. I bought them right on the spot. Regretted it almost immediately because I was like, oh man, these might not end up getting here before the month is open. I like to get all my shoes reviewed before the month ends. But 2 days later, they were at the door on a Sunday evening of all things, right? So all in all, from top to bottom, everything about this release, I mean, it was solid, you know, from start to finish. So that's definitely some points in Adidas' category in my eyes, right? But yeah, overall, it's another Ultraboost. There's not a whole lot else to really say about it. I like those. I like these colors. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? I just need to talk a little bit so you can have time to see those pictures that I take, you know? Otherwise, what's the point? Now, sizing is next. Let's talk about that, huh? I bought these in a 9.5 because that's pretty much what I buy everything in, right? I see Ultraboost as being a true to size fit, so given that I'm a true to size 9.5, that's what I go with. And that worked out just fine on these. I will say though, that because the material of these isn't like that same prime knit that you normally would see on Ultraboost, it does fit just a little bit loose down here around the toe box. I wouldn't say it's loose enough to like go down a half or anything. I'd still stick with a true to size thing. Just expect it to not feel like your standard Ultraboost, right? So there is that piece of it. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, the sizing, like the comfort piece, right? The comfort piece is going to be exactly where you expect it to be for the most part. This boost down here is the same 1 through 4 style boost, meaning it's like a little more cushiony than the 19 and so on boost. They're got just a little stiffer, you know? So there is that. If you're not a fan of like the cushy style boost, I mean, maybe you'll want to not buy these. I don't know, right? It depends on how much you dislike it. But just figure that out for yourself before you make that purchase. And then looking down in here, like I was saying before, walking around on Legos, it doesn't sound like a great idea, but for whatever reason, they put it in here so you're now walking around on Legos essentially. And yeah, not a great idea. So I kind of wish this had just been like a standard insole because I feel like they'd be a bit more comfortable. But again, I've only walked around in these for a few minutes right in here. So maybe over time I'll like grow to be cool with this. But I will say it's probably one of those things where you may not notice it a whole lot, like after you walk around a little bit, but you may still just not like that it's there. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. As usual, if it doesn't, watch the video enough times and eventually it will. It's not a guarantee, but you know, it's possible. So I think that sums up everything, right? Talked about the shoe, did some personal thoughts, all that stuff. I didn't really show you pictures of the box because I kind of forgot to, but the box looks kind of cool. So luckily I took those pictures yesterday so I can slip those in there at some point. But yeah, I think we're good. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I got another video to record and then some editing to knock out. So later, people.